Good evening. This is the Wednesday, October 4th, 2023 meeting of the Economic Development Commission. This meeting is beginning at 6:31 p.m. and I thank everyone for their flexibility in the delay of this meeting by 1 hour. We are expecting Commissioner Wendy Russell to phone in at any time. In the meantime, we have here at the table Jean Wilczynski, John Stratton, MJ DeRizio, Mona Colwell, and myself, Cheryl Poirier. Excused this evening are Joe Camion and Scott Smith. And I have shared with my fellow EDC members that Terry Lewis, unfortunately, has stepped down from the EDC. We want to thank her for her commitment to everything she's done while on the EDC, and she is spread across a number of aspects of town government, and we appreciate the time that she was able to give us on the EDC. So we do have an open position on the EDC. All right. The first order of business is to approve the meeting minutes of September 6th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? That's Jean. And is there a second?
Second.
John, thank you. Any discussion of the September 6th minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the September 6th meeting minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Wendy, that's you?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, very good. Okay, Wendy is an aye. Any opposed? Aye. And any abstaining because they were not here last? Okay, Mona is abstaining because she was absent last month. Okay. Next order of business is public comment. We do not have any members of the public in our audience other than our clerk, Jen. Do we have anyone on the phone, a member of the public with public comment? All right, hearing none, we'll close that section of the agenda. Public comment is now closed. Okay, our first order of business is discussing the mission and vision and focus of the EDC. This is something that is good to revisit every so many years. I have sent out examples from other towns and some background information on what some of our strategic areas have been chosen in the last couple of years, as well as our own mission statement. What I'm hoping to do tonight, this is going to be a many-month process of building our strategic focus, but what I'd like to do tonight is to do our best to come up with a draft statement of what our focus should be. Not necessarily what specific things we should be doing or ideas we should try, but what is a general focus, the mission for the EDC in Old Lyme, keeping in mind some of our strengths but also our limitations. We don't have a staff person, and we have a busy group of volunteers here on the EDC. So we need to remember what our limitations are in addition to what we hope to accomplish. And MJ, I'm going to put you on the spot. I want to start with you because you started to share last month some of your thoughts on focus. And if you could maybe build on that.
I guess when I joined the commission, I wasn't certain whether the focus was to improve, increase, and expand existing businesses and promote them locally, or whether the mission was more strategic to the extent that we could early integrate different businesses and resources into the community that would grow existing businesses and bring in new ones. So on one hand, there was more of a retail focus at the individual level, and we're very small business here. And the other hand was more of a commercial business-to-business messaging. So I was uncertain where we fell. My theory is always start at the top and work down. So I would start always with the business-to-business, see what we've got, what it does for us now in terms of revenue, in terms of jobs, in terms of meeting the needs of the community or the region, and then narrow it down from there if need be. I don't think there's much wrong with the existing statement, personally. I would think that we would, if you want me to go there.
Sure.
I would think that supporting the economic investment and all of that should say that we do that in concert with planning, the selectman's office, and the existing present, past, and future boards and commissions of the town. So not to give us all of the responsibility, and at the same time make sure that we're following what the general public and the leadership of the town wants. And we know that changes, but in the long run, we know basically what people want, and that can be tweaked, but not to a big degree. So I think that that's the one thing that's the component that's missing, that it's a collaborative effort. It's got to complement, it should complement leadership goals, other board and commission goals, our natural resources, our human resources, that kind of thing. For me, it's all about the economy. It's all about revenue, revenue, revenue. So I don't care whether the revenue comes from this place or that place or here or there. It's just economics is what drives it.
Okay, so your last point first, I really like that idea of including somehow in the mission statement or sub-bullet that we need to work collaboratively with other commissions and boards. I would also add to that the vision statement by the Planning Commission, because that's what we should be working toward.
Right.
And then, so your first main point...
That essence needs to be in there. The rest of it is just words. It's fine.
Yeah. And then your first point, to further clarify, I'm thinking that you feel like we spend too much time on small businesses and not enough time on building larger commercial development.
It's more complicated trying to put in a bigger plan. And our big plans will never look like Old Saybrook, for example, by them soliciting a Big Y or them soliciting a Whole Foods or whatever. I do think that there are little things that we could do that would enhance the quality of life and make the town more visible to residents, to visitors, to people just driving through. Lime Street is very pretty, but it's not a main thoroughfare. I want to stop there. I don't want to go down the hall.
Yeah. But what about our light industrial / that zone?
The light industrial park is very interesting because there are two sides of it, and they both have different businesses. I noticed that they finally paved Hatchet Hill last year. And people use it. I think if you have a job with one of those companies, you know it's there. But I think that perhaps bringing them into one of these meetings or even going to them, say, we'd like to have an Economic Development Commission meeting at one of your offices next month, and we'd like everybody up here to come in the spring or whatever. go to them. I don't know if build it and they will come is always the good approach. We bring it to them and see what they say. They probably have more input than we even know they do.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, there's going to be housing up there.
Right.
I'm sure it's going to happen. So where are those people going to work?
Okay. So in this mission statement, that concept of, you talked about business to business and larger scale, how can we add that what would you suggest as a sentence or something we should be focused on?
Right.
And we can circle back to you if you want to think about it.
I would like to think about it. I do think that the emphasis in the statement has to be on economic growth and how that drives jobs, how that drives housing demand. You could build all the houses you want, and you're going to just get more people coming here that want to live in a quiet town, which is maybe where we wind up anyway, with an industrial park. But people like it here because it is what it is. I've talked to people just casually, and I had a dust up with somebody who has a little business. And I said, but wouldn't you like to see, I don't know what I asked, something. No, if I want to go shopping, I'll go over to Old Saybrook. I'm like, okay. And they were like, I don't want that here. Okay. So, there's a lot of people who are set in their ways, and I think the change needs to be gradual. I think we build it out where we can. So 156 would be right. The industrial park would be right. Places where it already exists and grow it. Nobody knows who all the small businesses are here. There are hundreds of them.
There are hundreds.
Hundreds of them. Probably several hundred of them. And who uses them? Most of them are consulting-like businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you build that out. I don't know. I know that we'll never have a Whole Foods. We just don't have the territory for it. We don't have real estate for it. But if you think at the next layer down, attack it there and see what happens. And we have problems. We can't be so grandiose as to not address the problems. We have no water, we have no sewer, we have no natural gas, we're electric dependent, it's out constantly. We are look at the problems on Friday with those 2 accidents.
Yeah.
Our hands are tied. So whatever we do, we have to craft our statement, I think, carefully enough to fit with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
We could change what we have. We could, take all the houses down here and make it a pretty Madison-like street. But that's not the point. But we just don't have the real estate for much more.
And that's a good point, because I was thinking about the limitations of our team, but there's also the limitations of the town and what the town can handle. And I do have to say, not everyone is on the same page in terms of wanting to grow the economy in a larger way. But it definitely has to be sustainable. What either we have or the growth that we have has to be sustainable and resilient.
Look at how much medical care has grown. There's a benign sector that could grow here very easily, just as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the details, but just think about that. I also know another impediment, which is a double-edged sword. We give a lot of land to conservation. We love our environment. We don't want it encroached upon. So now, where are you going to put it? There are probably swaths of land that were quite suitable for light commercial or even light industrial, not like Hatchet's Hill, but something else. We're a service economy. Those are not polluting industries.
Well, not only are we a service economy, but we also are a beach community in the summer. And that is an economic driver all in and of itself, although everybody keeps not getting along about what they want to see it done, but people are still trying to make it happen. So, I mean, that's one of the main things that's so beautiful about our town is we do have influx of people in the summer, and it's a huge tax base which helps to fund our schools and other things in our town. Without that huge tax base, we wouldn't have the great schools that we have. We would have to do, you know, a lot less. We would have a lot of income from tax revenue if we didn't have that beach community.
Well, maybe that's something that we could think about incorporating into the mission statement, or as a subset of it, is to shift the tax burden from property owners to more of a business, commercial-oriented. You know, look at, like, the bigger towns.
But that's still going to be property-based, right?
So I'm just
No.
going to tell you from real life experience,
There's more
every
streams.
single small town that has had to try to grow by growing businesses, you can look at it town over town over town. They have thought like, oh, we're just going to bring in all these businesses and it's going to be great. And it's not. It still raises taxes. It's not. I think that to try to make a strategic effort to grow businesses, thinking that it's going to relieve the burden on residential, I think it's a lie that people fall into, because there are so
That's the
many
point.
small
You need more
towns.
police, you need more
Yeah, like
roads.
I grew up in Wilton, Connecticut. It was a very small town, just very similar to Old Lyme. And 30 years ago, they were trying to make it sound like we're going to do this, we're going to try to be like a Westport, we're going to try to be like New Canaan, and they really did. And they put all kinds of stuff downtown, and all the taxes did was go up. I mean, their taxes are ridiculous. You can't even barely afford it on residential real estate. So it didn't help. In the 20 or 30 years, taxes went up
Like,
1,000%. You know, I mean, I could get the real numbers for you because I could easily look it up. But it's sort of like, you know, you think it's going to be so great. Like, there's so many great things already about Old Lyme that I think the biggest problem is that people don't really know what we have, and people don't really know how to get what they want. So, for example, if somebody wants to start a business down in Soundview, they probably don't even know where to go. But the website that you created really was geared towards helping people to grow their businesses. I don't know, you know, how much it has helped people, but hopefully it has, and it has supported them.
Probably not the business owner section, but that still needs to be built up quite a bit. And related to that is addressing the regulatory confusion at town hall.
And they're not always just Old Lyme problems. Connecticut is not a business-friendly place. It's not friendly.
so what is economics to us then? Is it just property taxes? What does that mean then? Economic change, what does that mean?
Yeah, so a question I have is, you know, if you, to your point, you bring in other businesses, and what are the taxes that how are they adding to the revenue?
Just the town revenue, as opposed to state sales revenue, or sales tax revenue, right? You're talking about town tax revenue, property revenue versus sales tax revenue going to the state.
Right, but and the businesses do pay property tax, and I mean, we just finished ours. Every piece of furniture in your office, you got to account for. I mean, it's a crazy form.
It is.
It's really obscene, to be honest.
I guess
To go through that level of detail, but every year, you know, what do you still have? What do you know? I mean, it's a pretty serious inventory for even how many chairs. I mean, it's that detailed.
And that's to assess your business for the town or for the state?
Property.
Yeah, for her
It's
property tax.
It's business property tax, even though our company does not own the property that we're in, we rent, we still pay tax on all the inventory, whatever that might be. You know, if you were a store, you got to probably do, you know, on your things you sell. But for us, it's just all the things that we have in the building, you know, in our office. Yeah, and there is a tax levied on that.
So the owner of the building is paying tax.
Correct, property tax.
You're paying rent.
That's right.
And then you're paying tax on everything that you have in that space that you are renting.
Yeah,
It's like your vehicles.
it's not a huge number though.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but it is other revenue. So that's you know, a piece of it.
So,
And it does go to the town, to the
Right.
town property tax.
so I guess then economics goes back to what I think it should be, which would be job creation. Because the more jobs you can have here, the more people want to live close to those jobs. And then those people want to purchase and own and buy property, equipment, vehicles, motors, tractors, you know, whatever they do. They want to play golf. They want, you know, whatever they want to do. It's the population that you have to have, because then it's the velocity of money. They own a paycheck. That paycheck goes into the big Y. The big Y sells more plants. More people go to the Mother's Day plant sale. More people go to Midsummer Festival. It just creates a quality of life.
And if I may say, it also instills loyalty to the community. Loyalty which is reflected at times when it's time to vote for major capital investments, for school improvements, for whatever other kinds of improvements. Let me double back a little bit on what you were saying. So I strongly support the major items cited. However, for every one of these, there is an immediate army of negative speakers that surround every one.
Outside of our EDC, you're talking about.
You're talking about the list of 9.
The 9 that we were given.
Yeah, outside. So
Yeah,
if you
right.
say, we're going to perhaps have a bridge, which will improve walking traffic, which will improve the linkage of the arts community with the commercial community. Oh, well, somebody's going to fall off the bridge. There'll be people immediately bringing negativity forward. And I've been on fairly substantial town projects like Cross Lane, many years ago, in which people didn't want to have the pond there because someone was going to drown in it, literally. They said, well, our organizer is a civil engineer and said, well, let's take a look at the slope, the gradient that leads into the water. And you see, it's well within the limits. And besides, do you plan to fence in Long Island Sound? So there are ways of counteracting negativity before it has a chance to develop a know-nothing base. So what I would propose from the standpoint of what we're saying, add 1 or 2, even parenthetically, specific good items which have shown their success. Let me go back to the idea of loyalty, though. People always complain about taxes, more or less, cocktail party conversation. But they stay here. And when the schools win an award, or a kid wins an award, or kids get super good scholarships, they want to stay here more. And they will pay those extra taxes so that our quality of life will improve. So there are highly tangible results to the quality of life intangibilities. And I think we should touch on those, constantly touch on them.
I like that, John. I was going to bring up quality of life, and I had not thought about the loyalty to the community, but it's a very interesting point.
Because it's true, people have an immense loyalty, which is good for people to love Old Lyme. You want them to love it.
You don't have to love everything about it, but
You can love something and still say there's room for improvement.
I'm shocked by that, but yes, you're right.
Why?
I would be curious to hear what the Board of Finance would suggest to us if we went to them and said, how can we improve the economics of the town? What would they say back? You know, the town budget is teeny tiny. It's the schools, and we don't own them. We're in a region. So that's a little, not a big problem, but it's a little bit of a problem because we bear most of it. So I would be curious to know who else defines the economic development component of it.
I'll make a comment on that.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Well, I
Yes.
think, sorry, I do think that we could really benefit from tourism. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want tourism like they don't want anything else, but you know, a lot of communities that I've seen in the past or wherever, they've benefited from doing certain things to grow tourism. And of course that's what I do, but I think that we would grow our businesses. And it would bring more traffic to the town, of course, and but maybe it would benefit, everybody, that's trying to, survive in our community, build on what we have, contribute to what we have. I know that like certain towns that I've been in, they've done silly things like they have a whale or something on every corner, or I don't know, a cow on every corner. It depends on what town you're in. And it draws people to come to wherever that is. And maybe we come up with something that brings people to every corner of our town. And, we have a lot here, which a lot of towns don't have, and we don't benefit from it. And I don't know, it's just something to think about, maybe something out of the box. Like we think about something that kind of brings people in and then grows the businesses, and then more businesses will want to come.
If I could, I recall a comment made some years ago by Jeff Anderson, then the director of the Florence Griswold. And he said, sometimes you just have to step outside. We don't want to say out. I think we said out of the box back then. Step outside, what you think is normal. So he's sitting on the cradle of American Impressionism, but somebody suggested the concept of the wee fairy village. And he said to this small group that he was talking to, so it was indeed public, he said, I didn't think they had a chance in hell of going anywhere. However, he said, after the first 20,000 people came in on the first year, he changed his mind. So we have to be open to ideas which, again, to go back over my earlier point, which maybe are subject to negativity, but we can just override it with an attempt at being positive.
I also think that in terms of tourism, we should try to extend our season into the fall and in the spring. For example, I grew up in a town like this in New Jersey, and it's deader than Old Lyme in the winter. But through November, they've got a marbles convention for kids. They've got a little fireman convention. They have an antique car convention. They have an Oktoberfest weekend. They have an Irish weekend in March. There are all kinds of things that they've created. Like, look, we have Chili Fest and Chowder Fest and all that. But if we think about it just a little bit differently, why can't we have a regional dog show here?
Yeah.
Let's
Have a 4-H.
put that on a list for later. Find ways to extend our summer season. Let's just put that. Let's put that on.
A famous rowing club.
Yeah. So let's bank that off to the side for when we get to that level of, And I think, Wendy, it's interesting. It's a chicken and the egg because right now we have beautiful attractions, but they're limited. And to your point, bringing more people here would grow the number of potential small restaurants that opened on Halls Road.
Correct.
Or,
why wouldn't it, right?
Soundview. Right, because right now
Well,
Soundview. Go ahead.
No, keep going. Sorry.
I was just going to say Soundview was a ghost town the day after Labor Day, and one of the businesses was committed to staying open till September and just couldn't. There was no one down there. So,
well, I think of Block Island too. Like it's something not simple. I'm sure it's a lot of work, but they hide orbs all over the island.
They do what, Wendy?
Orbs. This company does glass orbs, and they hide them all over the island. Right? There's like, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 of them a year, and people come there and they search for these orbs because it's a thing, So I think if we find our thing, we couldn't. I mean, not that I'm saying hide orbs, but they're glass blown orbs that a glass company came up with. I mean, it's a simple concept, right? And they hide them all over, and people are crazy looking for these orbs all over this island. They come from all over doing this. And, so it's sometimes it's such a simple concept that maybe, and we kind of maybe overlook what we have in our town, and maybe we kind of look within our town to see what we have and maybe kind of grow within, from something that we. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so maybe the big picture item is at a mission level, find ways to build visitation. That's because you're saying build visitation, and that will round out more amenities, maybe wanting to have a business here.
Listen, you can have a nice thing contest. I mean, the point, I think, is to expand it beyond the Memorial Day to Labor Day. Grow the tourism season beyond the 3 months that we think about the traditional.
Right now on Upper Line Street, October is a tourism season because of Wayfarer Village. Right. So, okay.
Right.
So that's.
But wouldn't it be cool if we had, I don't know, I'm just going to say this out loud, maybe ferries are all over the city. I mean, over the town, not city, but you know what I mean? It's something simple like that would be like, wow, okay, that's kind of cool. I'd bring my family there to do that.
And I'll tell you that the Chamber of Commerce used to do a ferry, go into these shops and find the hidden ferry kind of thing. And then for 3 or 4 years, I was spearheading ferry doors on Line Street. And it's just time-consuming. We're time-consuming. So,
I know.
We need to look back at our, who can take on these things and run with them. And I don't know that it's the EDC, but maybe what we do is work with others to build ways to do this sort of tourism building.
Sure. 2019, when people were painting the rocks and putting them out on the trail, you would go out on the trails and. Maybe it was even before 2019, I don't know. But we were putting painted rocks. And
even if it's something you hide and it's worth money, somewhere.
I also think that we should be able to help our nonprofits find new revenue streams. For example, I know that Lime Academy was getting a lot of pushback about any kind of eatery in their huge industrial kitchen, which is silly, from a few residents on Lime Street. People are going to ask you for money to contribute to those places day in and day out. Why not help them find another revenue stream? So that would be one of them. The Ferry Village. Look at the garden clubs. They could have a secret garden tour. I know we're getting into the weeds.
Yeah, so let's
do, but I'm just saying that the inputs are, based on what Wendy's saying, is look at what you have and see if you can enhance it and drive more tourism traffic or even local interest into those places.
And I know even as like maintaining some large calendar to track everything would be very difficult, but if there was a way that everything was captured someplace, and I know there are bits and pieces here and there, but people have to piece it together. And maybe I'm the only one that like, it will be a Friday and it's like, oh my gosh, this is happening tomorrow.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Berry Village, I don't even know when it is. It's probably going on right now.
The whole month.
It's the month of October.
Okay, I should know that.
To talk about the calendar, so there have been several groups who have tried to do that over the years. Community Connections, which is a collaboration of nonprofits in town, has looked at any number of options. And to be honest, the library did one for a while, but again, it requires everyone to contribute, and then someone actually has to do the work of making, and it's just been really a challenge.
The closest thing is Limelight, her events calendar, because people send her press releases.
Well, the chamber also did things, for example, for a long time, like 10 or 15 years, did a wine tasting and small nasherai, small bites. Well, you have never heard that?
Nasherai?
No. Little nasherai. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
You mean hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres, nice hors d'oeuvres, and nice wines. Now, we were quite successful, but the negativity kind of overtook us. Someone said, well, you have the little booths and you're giving out wine, but these are not certified bartenders.
Okay, so let's not go down that.
That is
weeds.
weeds
Yeah.
that we're getting into.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you have to be on top of that right away.
Right, yeah. But and we aren't a chamber, as we all know, but
No, we don't have to
might
be.
have.
We have to encourage.
We might encourage or work with the two chambers, Saybrook and Eastern Connecticut, encourage, okay.
I would hate to use the word regionalize, but I don't think anybody wants to do that. But I think a lot of the towns do similar things.
Yes.
So if you wanted to regionalize it, why not have a competition of sorts?
Like the
Lyme
Chili
against
Fest.
Saybrook against Old Lyme. It could be a food venue. It could be a food thing. It could be an art thing. It could be a trivia thing. You know, that's the way to regionalize. Keep everybody's individuality and have them compete against each other. And let whatever it is last for a month or something and see what falls out. I have no idea. I'm just
Okay,
I
so,
do think that one area that economic development should definitely speak to town about is why is everybody doing music on the same night in the summertime? That doesn't make any sense.
Why is everybody doing what?
Music on the same night. That is so idiotic.
yeah, I think they all learned this year,
I
yeah.
hope they did, because when I lived in Vermont, we had music pretty much every night of the week. We would go somewhere in our town for free music. Nobody had music on the same night. And people love that in the summer. A lot of people do, to go see music.
Okay, so our statement,
Let me go back to the statement.
okay, so,
Modify it to include leadership and collaboration.
One of the towns does have something similar, New Hartford. It says they'll work with other commissions and entities to improve the business environment to further economic stability, growth, and diversification.
yeah, I liked New Hartford a lot because they also talked about quality of life. So,
Yeah.
they say augment the growth. I would say support the growth. So the mission of New Hartford is to support the growth of existing and future businesses, creating an improved quality of life for our residents. The EDC will provide resources, information, and advice on what services and events are available to sustain growth. The EDC will also work with other commissions and entities to improve the business environment to further economic stability, growth, and diversification.
Yeah, I actually really like that one too.
It's good.
Well, it also, this work with other commissions, that implies, maybe I'm reading too much into it, implies that the EDC presents the other commissions with alternative approaches to encouraging something which we perceive as something, but rather than let them jump on it and say, there's not enough parking for this, we're not going to do it. That's the negativity component. Figure out a way to do it. It's their
Well, I think
responsibility to figure out
we
a way.
have been asked to speak on things like storage units and other things in town at the zoning meeting or other meetings.
I think one of our statement as it exists now is one sentence. I think it needs to definitely be broken up to capture everything in a manner that is readable and understandable. For example, I think that job growth is important because when people have money, they spend it. I like the whole concept of live here, work nearby, that kind of thing. That's a good little tagline.
The rediscovery of provincialism, yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So I'm looking at what we have that is good.
Right, like
Most of it
economic
is
investment.
good. We have to add a couple things that we've talked about. I don't personally like all the soft language, like, you know.
Complementing the true spirit and character.
Yeah, like stuff like that
Or
doesn't mean
benefiting,
anything.
well, I
I
mean,
mean,
quality of life is important.
Quality of life is important, but the true spirit and character of the community I would leave out because I think that inspires the naysayers as much as it inspires the visionaries. So those are the kinds of things I like.
Right, because everyone has a different view of what that might be.
Right, it's too emotional there, you know. I think it has to be a little more dry.
Can be done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can wordsmith it, but I just don't,
Well, I think,
I worry about the
to be
too.
fair, it's a little bit more than wordsmithing. That is, you have to have something concrete behind the words.
Oh, I agree.
You do say the best song that conjures the spirit of old Lyme that will be played at the Florence Griswold on the front steps, and it will be a contest. Well, this is the second year that the Hamburg Fair song was sung by third or fourth graders. Everybody loves it.
Right.
You know the Hamburg Fair song? No, that's all right. But it was a new idea, and it was a contest,
I missed the fair this
and
year.
it happened.
Right.
I
I'm
love
looking
the
at
fair,
the
but I
pointers
was
here. The natural amenities. I think just for our knowledge, Cheryl, when we itemize the items that we want to enhance, I think in parens for us, we know the limits to some of that stuff too. Like we have a lot of natural amenities, but a lot of them are off limits.
Correct.
So
That's
you
the
have to be
negative.
careful of that. Outdoor recreation, you know, you're going to get very into territorial stuff with the beach community,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay, so that's the list of things.
Right.
Let's stick with the mission statement.
Okay.
This is New Hartford, and I'm wondering if we could combine New Hartford's with ours, our existing one somehow. Can you see
Okay.
everything, John, with me
Yeah, I can
standing
see,
here?
yeah.
So, when you read that one.
I see that.
Why don't I come to the end of the table? That way everyone's looking at it.
So we currently have support economic investment and revitalization of existing businesses.
Okay.
So when we say economic investment, whose investment?
Their investment?
I mean, we're supporting it. Hopefully that's,
Well,
It's where our tax
but we're not implying that we're gonna financially
Well, as
support
a-
it.
No.
Right.
support
But as a
economic
rhetorical
investment and revitalization.
Where do we have that? Is that on your?
That's on our current
survey.
mission statement.
But
Support economic investment and revitalization of existing businesses.
So we could just say that we support well-vetted plans for economic investment, I don't know.
Well,
But if we just switch it to what New Hartford says, then we support the growth of existing and future businesses, which is the truth. It's
Yeah.
simplified.
And I would add, and sustainability, the growth and
Yeah,
sustainability.
sustainability.
Sometimes you don't want to grow a business, you just want it to
not go
Right.
away.
sustain.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you're
right.
I like that, and sustainability of existing and future businesses, creating an improved quality of life.
How about for townspeople, because that includes, instead of residents, towns for
Well, I
towns.
don't know if you want to limit it because you really want tourism too. If you're going to get into the whole tourism thing, you don't want to specify who.
How about just quality of life, period,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
in Old Lyme?
What I was thinking in really a non-rhetorical way is, do we have any moral suasion to encourage the town to bond good ideas? That is, if we had someone proposing a good idea that we really thought was good and it could be made good, could we go to the select people and say, these people, I'm not thinking of anyone specifically here, but would it be worth having the town invest a little bit in this?
Well, I think we do when we go after grant money and those kinds of things. But I do think we do it backwards. Like, we shouldn't be saying, oh, what's available? Let's grab it. I think we should say, what do we want? Where can we get the funding? So the street goes in the right direction.
That's-
So one thing on the quality of life, ours ends by saying benefiting the quality of life for all who live in and visit
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Lyme.
nice.
So I think we can keep that.
I like that, yep.
I think the visitors are important. One thing I haven't heard yet is something that I've been looking for a long time. It's talked about. So we have a lot of partially occupied real estate here, meaning some are houses, some are for rent, some are been in the family for years, but they're not fully utilized. What is the utilization rate of our not fully occupied
I think we
houses?
can use that as a measure of success, or, a
Right.
metric further down, once this is built.
I think that
Are
comes
those people
sewer water
who
issue.
do- huh?
That's the sewer water issue. You're going to get to that point no matter what.
Well,
Because
maybe the town still has statistics on how many people get their water shut off, and then you could.
That would be not a bad avenue into it.
oh, I know the answer to that. I mean, I know how many
It's like 1,200 houses.
full-time households we have here in the normal day in and day out annually, and what changes in the summer. And it goes from like 5,300 households to like 11,000.
Yeah, so that'll be a good metric for us.
Yeah, I'll get the exact number.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Okay.
That becomes a positive entity.
Yeah.
Our town is so highly desirable
Right.
that so many people come here to rent or keep their family cottages,
Right.
which is essentially a luxury.
Right.
And-
But you have to watch that, though. There are those beach communities, they close their gates.
I know.
You don't want people to think they can just come down here and rent or live. I mean, they can, but it's expensive.
Okay, so let's get back onto this. Just for Wendy's benefit, the first kind of sentence is support the growth and sustainability of existing and future businesses, creating an improved quality of life for all who live and visit in Old Lyme. Then the second thing is provide resources, and I think this is something we should be doing. We have some of it on the website, but provide resources, information, and advice on what services and events are available to sustain growth.
Can I add year-round to that?
To this provide resources?
Sustain growth year-round.
Well, we have some businesses that are seasonal.
Oh, but that's a goal. Anyway, no.
Were you going to start that one with the EDC will provide like they did?
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't know if we really provide advice currently.
On an ad hoc basis, so a business that was recently shut down because of fire,
Yeah.
I was helping them look at state resources.
You're so nice.
Good.
So, and we have a page on the website of all kinds of, entrepreneur centers and things like that. So I think it's something the EDC should be trying to do.
Okay, thank
Plus, we
you.
put
And maybe we should be guiding them in how to market their businesses, you know,
Yeah.
like to a certain extent, not like overall, but like, you know, what do we have to give to them we should provide them outlets to be able to market their businesses and make sure that they're getting exposure to everybody and, you know, like to tourism and promote them and make sure that they're getting what they should be getting, you know. So that could be one of our tasks to a certain extent. I mean, we're not going to, you know, do it for them, but provide them outlets, you know.
Wendy, that's a really good example, and
Yeah.
you and I came on around the same time, I think, but
Yeah.
it's something we talked about having a workshop on social media for businesses and things
Yeah.
like that. I think that's good
Exactly.
to keep in mind for this, for that particular bullet point or sentence, whatever we want.
And I have that for us as well. We need to engage in social media, you know, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Maybe we develop interests for the town as well through our entity as well. You know, I don't know what that means or how we're going to do it, but I do think that that's an opportunity.
Do you want to say real and virtual businesses? I mean,
yeah, I would think so,
want to
right?
interject any
Yeah.
web or internet or
They're not virtual businesses. That means maybe not actual real businesses.
I'm just trying
Right.
to integrate the online.
You're talking about digital online,
Right.
which isn't really virtual.
I mean, I think sure.
Leave it open. And, you know, we also have so many home-based businesses.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think this businesses,
Okay.
and to the point about residential earlier, you know, maybe people aren't moving here, in some cases, people aren't moving here because there's a job nearby. They're moving here because they want to live in Old Lyme and have their home office in the.
Oh, clearly.
So you know, that's another reason to keep the quality of life here front and center.
Right.
So that people will want to work virtually.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because one of the issues with some places in our communities is not great internet service.
Yeah, and so that could be, once we get down the road.
Yeah, that's something that is a factor for people who actually do want to
I
live
agree.
here and work.
I know Joe Kamian has been very vocal about that, and so maybe that becomes one of our, you know, channels that we focus on.
This goes back to the dial-up days when it was proposed by people sitting in this room. Maybe we could put the squeeze on AT&T to improve the connectivity. And it was, well, why would we do that? People are responsible for doing that all by themselves. But
Yeah.
this is a community resource. It's like saying the electric lights go off once in a while. We have to do that.
Right. Okay, good.
So what is, if you were just to add the word marketing in that next sentence, the EDC will provide resources, information, marketing, and advice on what services and events are available to sustain growth.
So I don't think we can market businesses as a government entity. And when
But we could provide guidance.
Yeah. So it would
Okay.
be one type of advice. So it,
Advice.
Instead of
Advice, why not guidance? It sounds
Yeah.
less legal and
okay.
liable.
Yeah, guidance is good because we can invite, we could have an event and invite certain people that are experts in this material, and then it could, you know, kind of guide companies that way. I think that might be a good, you know.
So the EDC will provide resources, information, and guidance on what services and events are available to sustain growth.
You can actually get rid of the word what.
Get rid of what word?
The what.
Provide resources, information, and guidance on services and events available to sustain growth or to...
And advice on services and events
Maybe just that are available.
Yeah, I like that.
that are available.
Okay. All right. The broadband issue, which one, or the, better connectivity, which one of these would that fall under?
I think
Would that be
the other
supporting?
committees, because it's planning,
Yeah, I think
zoning.
we'd be working with other commissions and entities.
Okay.
The business environment.
All right, so we're covering it then.
Yeah.
Okay. So the third sentence, Wendy, is work with other commissions and entities to improve the business environment. Yeah, you got it. To further
Yeah.
economic stability, growth, and diversification.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Say that last one again, I have to think that
Work
through.
with other commissions and entities to improve the business environment to further economic stability, growth, and diversification.
I don't know if I like the word improve.
How about assist?
No, I think it's,
Assist in, or help, or assist in.
or I think it's more, that's where you get the collaborative nature in there, to collaborate with these committees.
Rather than work with, we're going to
Right,
collaborate.
collaborate with, to
Implies.
ensure that we have an optimal business environment desirable to our quality of life,
Optimize the business environment?
that we want.
I kind of like improve. I mean, optimize, if you guys want to optimize, we can make it optimized.
Improve is
We
fine.
don't have good internet in some parts of town.
I was thinking more like, well, we don't have a bakery. I don't want to get down that path.
Yeah.
Thinking we charge too much for
I don't want people who are in business think it's not good enough.
Right, yeah.
That's why I don't like improve.
The word improve, because then
That's
they
why I don't
might
like
feel
improve.
like, yeah.
So what do you?
I know we're talking about an environment, but you know how people are going to read it.
I'm furiously, I'm trying to stay away from buzzwords like enhance.
I like support, but does it fit?
Collaborate.
with other commissions and entities to
And town, and what do you,
Impact.
entities are fine.
impact?
We just want to make sure they don't think we're going to do it for them.
Right,
Yeah, you're right.
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 But if they come to us and say, hey, look, could we expand
Why don't we just say
working hours?
sustain
We can maybe
How
help
about
with
a
that.
desired business environment?
Collaborate with other commissions and
Other
entities.
people have them there in their things.
Sustain a healthy business.
Examine the business environment to further economic stability. Examine.
Develop. Well, but we have it already, so it's not like we're starting at ground zero.
How about to facilitate?
Collaborate with other commissions.
To facilitate a desired business environment.
And I think I did mess up the second sentence by taking out the word what, by the way. Because then it says you need it for the what are available. I didn't understand what the what was.
I think we're okay on services and events available. Maybe we'll add something on the end there, but.
Well, it says it here, the New Hartford EDC will work with the other commissions and entities to improve the business environment
Yeah.
to further
That's what we're
economic
taking-
stability,
that's where
growth, and
we're taking it
diversification.
from. That's what
So
we
why don't we
did.
just copy that sentence?
Yeah.
Right, so we
I
did.
didn't like the word improve.
I don't, still.
I like the word improve, but I'm willing to be outvoted on it, so.
I mean, I don't care. I've had enough to say, thank you, but.
Because I'm trying to picture scenarios, so, I'm gonna.
We don't want them to think that we're going to improve. We, like you said, what if they don't improve and then we don't?
And what
You
if
know.
people really like our current business environment? They don't feel like we need to improve it.
What
So
about?
maybe it's assist.
Foster's a good word.
Foster is a good.
Collaborate with other commissions and entities to foster
Foster.
the business environment.
A
Yeah.
business environment, yeah.
What do you think, Wendy?
All right, we'll do that.
I think assist or foster or something,
Which is close to, I said support.
Yeah, it's whatever you guys think. I just think if we say we're going to improve their business, we're putting that in their mind. So we got to say that we'll, that's all.
Okay, so the sentence is collaborate with other commissions and entities to foster the business environment. How about and further?
And to further.
And to further
That sounds good.
Economic stability, growth, and whatever the last word is.
Need a verb in there. To
Foster.
further is the verb, huh? Further is the verb. Okay.
Further.
To further
Strengthen?
gerund.
Strengthen, I like that.
Yeah.
Strengthen?
Did you say?
To further is a gerund.
Okay, collaborate with other commissions and entities to foster the business environment and to strengthen economic growth, stability, growth, and diversification. All right. Okay, building visitation. Does that fall under one of these three? Supporting the growth of businesses, providing resources, and collaborating with other entities. Are we building visitation under one of those?
No, I think that's a pathway. Like there are pathways to do these things.
So what path,
Like tourism is a pathway.
right, but connected to, do we need to add a fourth sentence? That's what I'm asking.
No, to say what?
To support that tourism pathway. Visitation, building visitation.
I don't know. I think that's a hot button if you put it out there.
So I think supporting the growth and sustainability of existing and future businesses.
We can do that under that one?
I think so.
One of the ways we support.
Through collaboration with tourism throughout the state kind of thing?
Oh, that's true too. Okay, so it does hit a couple of points.
The collaboration, because it doesn't just mean in our town.
Right.
Other
No,
commissions-
but,
yeah,
we're focusing on tourism with the state, but it doesn't focus on our state, but our town, but it'll, hopefully benefit us in the long run, right?
Yeah, so,
And the other thing is an entity can also be the Greater Old Saybrook Chamber, the Eastern Connecticut Chamber.
Right.
So there's a lot that can fall under entities. So collaborating with those to strengthen, our growth and all.
To your point, chamber, we could put chambers, tourism bureau, we could put, something else, I don't know.
So do we have to say something like respect the balance between our environment, our residents, our visitors? Like,
I hear what you're saying.
I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at? That covers some of the stuff that you're talking about, I think.
The limitations.
The limitations. We have to, we can't be all things to all people. And there's some people that aren't going to want all things. So we have to be delicate.
Do we have that vision statement of the town, the plan of conservation and development? I don't
On
have it
here?
on paper.
While taking the integrity of the town into account. Or something like that. You guys can noodle that.
In something like
2020 Plan of Conservation and
Yeah,
Development.
that's it. And if you go to, this should say something about a vision statement somewhere.
Page 7.
And it's not obvious.
Okay, vision statement.
Okay.
Citizens of Old Lyme value the beauty and quiet to be found in their town, despite its equidistant location on Interstate 95 between the major urban hubs of Boston and New York City. Decades of effort by volunteer land use commissions and dedicated property owners have preserved a great abundance and variety of natural resources and kept Old Lyme as a peaceful, serene haven, with its people strongly in tune with the natural world around them and having a real appreciation for its small town sense of community. Life in Old Lyme is typically gracious, relaxed, and restful, yet offering cultural, recreational, and social activities. Okay. Old Lyme is located at the mouth of the Connecticut River, the only major river in the Northeast with natural sandbars and salt marshes at its mouth rather than commercial harbor development. Numerous tributaries also flow down from the hills and steep ledges in the northern part of town to join the Connecticut River and the Sound. The town's rugged natural resources have been a factor in limiting development that would otherwise overcome the town's rural character. Wow, this is a long vision statement.
Yeah. So, should we have something in here about working in concert with the town vision, rural nature?
Taking into integrity of the town, like keeping that in mind, right? Or no? Sorry.
I'm writing what you're saying.
If I did. I'm sorry.
No,
it's hard
I'm
because
writing.
I'm hearing little bits and pieces here.
Yeah. No, I'm writing down what you're saying. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of laughing reading this.
You know, like if we're gonna support the vision of tourism and
I'm not
bringing.
sure that really defines us, but whatever.
Get carried forward.
Yeah.
Every
It's
decade.
something to think about.
Attract 27-year-old engineers from
Well,
EV
exactly.
to invest here?
Yeah. How about we have to note something about the natural resources.
I'm just saying that there are all these things that we have to balance. I'm still stuck on balance. There are seasonal needs, there are rural characteristics and environmental characteristics.
I don't know if it'll all fit in the mission.
I know, but I'm just trying to
I mean, it can almost be like a precursor or
Well, it could go into the vision.
I would say we're not, I don't know how to say it, but I don't think we want to urbanize the town,
Yeah.
but we want to let people know that we have a rural sophistication with an appreciation of being an art-centric community, environmentally concerned population, and
I like that.
open for business at the same time.
a lot, vision, right?
a lot of the
The
stuff-
vision, and then this is our mission to support the vision.
Okay,
A
so.
lot of that is represented in the Explore Online website. I mean, I feel like
We
that's-
need to let people know that we support what they're doing and we're going to support, you know, in any way we can.
Yeah.
But I don't know, do we have to attack the vision statement now, or are we just attacking the mission?
We could do the mission, but I just want to capture kind of what you guys are saying, environmentally
We're environmentally sensitive.
sensitive.
We are, we trend to seasonal tourism, or seasonal residencies. That we have a seasonal community here. We're definitely a seasonal community. That we expand into a seasonal community.
Which has attracted artists for generations.
Well, there's artists, writers, you know, that sort of thing. But I hate to emphasize that other than just having it under the big cultural umbrella, because then we stray toward the nonprofits, which are all wonderful, but they generate even less revenue than the small businesses do. You know, they're
They
just,
generate no revenue, right?
well, no revenue. I mean, we took the bee and thistle off the rolls, you know. That's the thing that we need to balance. We
Right.
need to offset that with something.
The other another way to look at it is that they bring visitors who in turn go to the Hideaway or the Hangry Goose or Bowerbird. They're bringing visitors to town who are then supporting the small businesses.
I think that that's a bigger desire by the long-term residents than anything else, which is more eateries, more places where people can congregate socially and not be in a church or in a public meeting or in a school, you know, where it's purely a social environment for a variety of populations. We have nothing for teenage people living here that don't drive. We don't have an art house. We don't have a cinema. We don't have a coffee shop. We don't have a hangout. We don't have a skating rink, you know, but to say that those are the kinds of little things that people, I think, would enjoy seeing more. A big store.
It's so tough, though, that balance. How do you get people to open up a business when you can't guarantee if they're going to make enough money to survive? You know.
So, but we can put that, as we
But that's
move
the
forward, and that goes to the experiential, that, of the 9, there's one about experiential
Yeah.
eating and dining, like that. To me, when you need to give an example of that, Blackwell Outfitters. You can experience kayaking,
Right,
and it's a retail,
right,
Hangry Goose, you can
Right.
sit on the water and
right.
while dining.
Those are 2 very great examples.
So
Businesses.
that can be a tick under support the growth of existing and future businesses, creating an improved quality of life. We want an improved quality of life. What kind of businesses do we want to try to attract?
Just as an aside, do we have any obligation to try and move that Cherry Stone property off the blight list in our minds? Do we have any clout as a commission to get people to start to take some action there that's measurable?
I think Shoreline Gateway is trying to make some steps in that direction, but I don't know specifics.
You could also add the former silo, and you could add
Right.
it is so defunct as to not register on our collective minds, the Italian American Club Broadway
Right.
restaurant
Yeah.
down at Sound View. Big building, been there for 50 years, empty.
So I just, that's going to
What we
be,
should do has to be proportionate to the size of our town.
okay. So are we good with this
Yeah,
as
I
a
think-
draft?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
We spent a good amount of time on, I think this is great.
I
So,
do too.
Oh, I agree, I like it.
I would still feel good talking to finance committee people and asking them what economic development is. Or planning.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Wendy? Go ahead,
Um,
Wendy.
I just wanted to ask one more thing. Is there any place in town that we could do a community, like a tree lighting, somewhere that we could gather as a town? And because I've read in many things that that's what people crave. They want that attachment. They want that connection. And I think that's kind of one of the things that we're missing. Is there some sort of land or some sort of place that we might be able to maybe as a town kind of, it's just an afterthought. So I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, sure, please.
So Wendy,
Okay.
it's just not well publicized, I think, unless you have children, but the school has done a tree lighting with music and a ceremony
Yep.
every year.
So that actually was the Chamber of Commerce that did that.
We did that for 20 years.
Oh.
And then the Lime Art Association.
And where was that?
Lime Academy took it. Now it's at Lime Academy, but I
was
don't
in
know
Santa
if they're going to
Claus.
be doing
That's
it.
what I know.
Okay.
So-
I don't know. Just
What
just
about
a
building
thought.
on the
Sorry.
fact that we're New England? Why don't we have a Thanksgiving Day town dinner,
Yeah.
potluck
Right.
dinner, a clam bake and turkey on a beach?
Okay.
And the
And
town's
the tree
invited.
lighting. Come on.
All right, so
Anything.
write those
Come on.
ideas down, because we're not going to
Yeah.
talk about them right now. We're going
Right, I
to
know.
move on to our brief update, because it's 7:45.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to, write that idea down, because I like that. Okay. Okay, let's do our brief updates. Eastern Regional Tourism District. Wendy?
Well, the only thing I have is if we have any fall activities or anything we want to send in for the newsletter, we need to do that right away. Other than that, we're all working on the budgets and all of that as well. There's not much other than that I have.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Openings, closings, ribbon cuttings. Okay, I think we mentioned in this meeting, during our meeting, recording that supports this reopening soon. It was announced yesterday that Gil Burrow, who has run Studio 80 Sculpture Gardens, is retiring, and the Sculpture Gardens will close at the end of the year, which will be a great loss for our Arts Corner. People love to go from a gallery over to the Sculpture Gardens, so it's a loss, but I just have the warmest wishes for Gil. He has been so giving to our community, having a free gallery. I said on Facebook last night, basically his private backyard is open 365 days a year to the public, and you can't ask that of many people. So there was a closing reception of the summer show, October 24th. I think it's a Saturday, and I am actually checking with his assistant to see if that might be an appropriate time for the EDC to show some gratitude to Gil. Okay, so I will let you know where that stands.
Can I add just a small thing? Gil and his wife came to Old Lyme, hunted up through real estate people places that might be good. We were just on their list. I met them by chance at the Old Lyme Inn the very evening that they had decided to buy the house.
Oh, okay.
And they had qualitative reasons for moving here. They didn't like the lighting, but they liked the location. They've definitely put their shoulder to the wheel here and expanded that. By the way, just as a footnote, he said in the notice, the letter that he sent, that the production capability for sculpture would remain there. So as a quasi-business, well, I can't say quasi-business, but as a business.
So there will still be
presence.
Welding going on in the studio. One of his workers will be doing fabrication for people. Go ahead,
is that
Wendy.
somewhere we could propose to the town for like a central place for the town?
I think it's going to continue to be a private residence, but
okay. All right.
Follow up on that.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Academy has some ideas about it as well.
Yeah.
That rest of it.
Yeah. Okay, real estate update. Thank you to MJ who sent out her real estate update to us all, and that's been provided to Jen, our clerk, and it will be an attachment to our minutes. Halls Road Improvement Committee, they had one open house already, and they'll have another one tomorrow evening right here. You can actually see those things in the back. Shoreline Gateway, Joe is not here tonight to give us his report. Other new business. Just a very brief thing. I had to do the EDC report for the annual report, and I, put in different things that we did throughout July 1st to 2022 to June 30th, 2023. And I included Explore Old Lyme, and I looked up how many unique visitors we had to that website, and it was over 9,000 unique visitors over the course of the year. So I thought that was
that's great.
Decent.
Money in the budget to boost that site in any way as we come into the springtime and whatever.
Like write Facebook ads or something?
I will talk about social media as well. We don't have a line item like that, but we can certainly look at that if it makes sense to do. Social media, very quick last piece of business. Individual commission, it has been an unwritten policy in the town that individual commissions or boards cannot have their own Facebook presence. There are a lot of really important reasons for that. FOIA requests can include social media. Comments can, be
inflammatory.
There's a lot of reasons. So, and the town employees have to be part of any social media that a commission or board would have. So it's best for them to have one Facebook page. They don't have Instagram right now. Emergency management does, but the general town does not. So there is a written policy being worked on now for the Board of Selectmen to consider. And that's just because one commission went ahead and did their own Facebook page and didn't realize that there was this unwritten policy, because the town doesn't tend to write up policies, but now they are. So, Wendy, I just wanted to bring that up just so you know that we, at this point, we can't have our own Facebook or Instagram, but we can certainly use the town's Facebook page to promote concepts and ideas as opposed to individual businesses. We can promote a ribbon cutting event of ours, but we can't promote an individual business.
Right. And do we have a link to their, like, so can we have a link? Do you know? Or
tell me which
I didn't
link.
see a link to our page.
From where?
From the Old Lyme page.
So the Town of Old Lyme website, if you go to the very top, there's like town departments, commissions, and then there's Explore Old Lyme.
Oh, okay. All right. I might have missed that. Okay. I just looked quickly and I was like,
That's okay. Yeah, good question.
Yeah. No, it would be good because, you know, now social media is so huge. We should probably try to benefit from something, you know.
Yeah. And I think the town's going to put together a social media calendar, like when are they going to promote hiking on open space lands and kayaking and, you know, various things. So we can make sure we're part of that. Okay, any other new business? Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mona, any discussion? No discussion? All right, all in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wendy. I'm going to hang up. Okay.
All right, thanks, guys. Good night.